Final score, Duke 93, Wake Forest 60. It's a 33-point victory for the Blue Devils over an ACC opponent that people had projected as an NCAA tournament team in the preseason. At this point, not so much. Things aren't going perfectly for Steve Forbes at Wake Forest. They got to close the season strong, or else it looks like they're going to miss the field of 68 once again. If you're curious, Cooper Flagg was awesome. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and 2 steals, filling up the box score. And that was last night's Duke's 10th win in the ACC by at least 25 points, which makes Duke the first Division I men's college basketball team to win at least 10 conference games by at least 25 points since UNLV did it in the Big West in the 1990-91 season. So think of all of the great John Calipari Memphis teams and the way they rolled through Conference USA, all of the great Duke teams that Mike Krzyzewski coached, all of the great Gonzaga teams that have rolled through the WCC. Nobody has run through a league and just dominated and blown out as many people in one season as Duke has done this season in the ACC. And yes, that does say something, first and foremost, about Duke. That's the most talented team in the country. I think Auburn's the best, but Duke's the most talented. They've got at least 3 future first-round draft picks, probably more, including the number 1 pick in Cooper Flagg. They've got a real rim-protecting center. They've got experience sprinkled, enough of it, I think, throughout the rest of the roster to go win the whole thing. That's the most talented team in the country. And this string of blowouts is evidence that that's one of the most talented. That's the most talented team in the country and one of the best. But it also highlights how bad the ACC has become. Like, it's not a coincidence that the last team to do this to a bunch of league opponents in this dramatic of a way was a UNLV team that also had multiple NBA players and was playing in a league that was subpar. And that's because right now, like, the ACC likes to think of itself as a power conference because it is. And it's still a top 5 conference in America behind the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and the Big East. But do you realize right now in the net, KenPom, wherever it is you like to get computer numbers from, the ACC in terms of caliber is closer to Conference USA and the Atlantic 10 than it is the SEC and the Big 10. There are 18 teams in the ACC. 9 of them, half, rank outside of the top 100 in the net. So, yeah, Duke is awesome, but the ACC's in a bad place right now. Syracuse, one of the biggest brands in the sport, just not very good. Virginia, one of the biggest brands in the sport, won a championship in 2019, just not very good. Too many of their big programs, Miami, Florida State, Pitt, programs that historically have been good, are just not good right now. And that's one reason Duke is running away with this thing. The main reason is that Duke is great. But the other reason is because the ACC is really, really down, and they got a bunch of hires to make in that league now. Miami, Florida State, Virginia. They need to get them right the way it appears Louisville got it right with Pat Kelsey, because too many of their good programs are in really, really bad places as of this moment.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.